I mean, you saw the 2008 recession. You saw the one in 2014, 2015. How have you weathered? How would you advise other developers to weather COVID-19 and the coming recession?
Well, I think the advice for developers is the same advice for all. The first thing is to understand systemic risk. And the minute you have chosen to operate within Nigeria, you are exposed to Nigeria risk, which is a global Nigerian risk. And the first thing we made in 2008 was people who sat down in houses with their remote control and they were watching America. They said, oh, America financial systems were collapsing, and they didn't understand that it was going to come to Nigeria. And the same thing happened now. People are watching the COVID-19 and the crisis, and they're watching it on CNN, and they're watching a show of, EastEnders or whatever it is people watch. They should understand that we're in a global economy. What is happening here in just a few minutes time. And if you don't plan and take steps to mitigate it, you're going to expose yourself to, you're already exposed to systemic risk, but your reaction or the response to that systemic risk will be a function of how well you prepare for it. So how would I advise, and how am I coping with it? You have to always, the rain is coming, it's going to come. So you just take it in your stride. See how you can secure your revenues, try to reduce the risk on the revenues, engage your clients on how you can give them payment terms, try and align your cash flow with your activities. So you go to suppliers and you negotiate with suppliers, they're facing the same risk like you, and you try and match your cash flows and say, okay, you deliver for me, sectorially over this period, and I will pay you over this period of so many days, and don't run away from it, because the rain is gonna, you're gonna get wet. So don't try and deflect the risk. Go in there, manage it. And secondly, communication is very important. You need to communicate very, 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 very effectively. I mean, if you listen to Yinka, how she communicated now about, phase 1A, this is the time, this is this. When you communicate to people, they don't mind. They might get upset, you should have been 5 minutes ago or whatever. But okay, you're still coming. So once that communication is there, and you can explain that due to the COVID virus or the coronavirus situation, things are going to be different. Since it's a systemic situation and they are facing the same situation, they will understand. And as long as you're communicating to everybody, they're fine. And thirdly, which is the elephant in the room, be realistic about your profit and revenue expectations. Just simply change your timelines and your expectations. And the definition of disappointment is the difference between what is expected and what actually comes. So if you want to, you just basically, adjust yourself to the realities, and that is the advice I would give to all businessmen and real estate developers.
All right, Ron, I want you to speak to the same thing. How would you weather? But I want you to speak to, because I'm just looking through our attendee list here, and I can see a lot of luxury developers like yourself, and a few people also doing large-scale projects like the rest of the panelists. How would you weather, knowing that you're selling a luxury good? They said in these times, that's when people want to buy, cheaper goods. All right. So how would you weather, knowing that you sell luxury goods?
Actually, we have plans of selling different kind of products. Now, it happens that our first developers chose to go for luxury, which we know there's going to be a long-term market. But we're also inviting other developers to have a lower entry point in the market, and we find that to be a much bigger market and on the long term. We're even studying ourselves many solutions on that. Mortgage rates is going to be a major player in what comes next. If we really do get low two-digit mortgage rates, that could really counter the effects of COVID, because going from a very high interest rate mortgage environment to a lower, even if it's not the lowest, can create a huge boom on the market, COVID or not COVID. And because a lot of people would be able to pay over 25 years versus having to pay over 3 to 4 to 5 years. And then that really expands our market significantly. So these are some of the elements. On other elements, it's also creating resilience. We're finding out that when we heavily depend on imports, any shutdown globally can impact us locally. And an example is, thank God we have a lot of cement production in Nigeria. If we didn't have that, our industry would have been shut down 6 years ago. That's an example in the last crisis. But because we could buy our cement locally, that makes a huge difference. And the more we move forward, the more we need to see how can we produce more locally, how can we source more locally, and that will create a lot more resilience and create jobs in the country and create secondary jobs to the real estate and construction market. So it all comes together, and it's betting on these things. And the third major element is environmental friendly. Today, I do believe, and COVID is teaching us a lesson, that the planet does clean up when we leave it, when we let it do its thing for just a few weeks. But we need to start thinking as a town developer, city developer, or estate developers. We need to start thinking environmental friendly, energy efficiency, resource efficiency. And we recently launched, one of our clients certified that their first building was a green certification. And we are now planning on having this across the board because it is important. And we can, in Nigeria, create set an example for the rest of the world. We can become the example. The technology is available. It doesn't cost much more to have a much greener building, and we can keep on improving over time. But if suddenly we become much more energy efficient, then our costs go down, for our tenant costs or our occupier costs go down, and that makes us more resilient. And we can maybe justify a higher price if we have to. We don't, as Yemi said, it's like we don't have to always push for the highest profit. But yes, if we can have reasonable profits for investors. At the same time, if the cost of operation is much lower, then that becomes a much more interesting value proposition. And that's a huge element, I think, in moving forward.